All right, so CMC triggers, that little hooked fella right there, are known and loved by a lot of people out there, especially my Texas boys. Texas boys love them some CMC triggers, especially my hog hunters. So if you're one of my hog hunters out there, let me know in the comments down below if you like that hogging thing. Now, for those of you that were in the military, hogging may have a little bit of a different meaning to you. Feel free to let everybody in the comments down below know what military's version of hogging is. But is the CMC trigger that good, and why or why not? All right, so let's take a good up close look at the 2.5 pound competition CMC trigger. But first, make sure you guys get subbed up, get belled up, turn those notifications down there to all on. If you want to support the channel in any way, you can check out the Patreon. Huge thank you to all of my Patreons. Or you can use any of those affiliate links down below. But we're gonna get into this CMC trigger right now. All right, so let's get into that CMC trigger here. I've got this thing broken down already because it's just easier to work with just the lower. But I know somebody's gonna ask, so, okay, this is a full Aero Precision build, built by them. I ordered it with the rail on it, that's the enhanced rail. Came with a Gamma brake, 223 Wild stainless steel barrel. I added that Cloud Defensive Rain, love that light. And then of course an Aimpoint Pro with an SKD Tactical 193 riser, because I'm a taller guy, longer neck, I've had spinal injuries, and I like taller mounts so I don't have to bend down to look through them. All great stuff. I've done reviews on this stuff before. I'll link some of that down below if you're interested. I will try to link that down below, but they have been out of stock on those for a little bit of time. So we'll get rid of that and we will get into this CMC 2.5 pound competition trigger that is in my 17 design folding lower. So this lower is really cool because it's integrated, pretty neat design. I'll leave a link for that down below so you can check that video out as well. So first thing I want to talk about is how this trigger is actually made. It is a drop-in design, just like the Rise Armament, which is this is the old version of the 140 right here. And then this is the Timney Daniel Horner Elite adjustable thing, which is an amazing trigger as well, but quite a bit more expensive. The differences in how this is designed, this one is, it's kind of like almost like a piece of 14 gauge sheet metal kind of bent around, and then they put their trigger guts in it. That's the best way I can describe it. You can see the shiny sheet, it's steel, right? But it's kind of like they folded a fender over and put the trigger springs, the housing, the sear, all that stuff in there together. It does come with the anti-walk pins, which is awesome because some lowers need those, and this trigger definitely needs it because it doesn't have these set screws like these versions do on the bottom. So having anti-walk pins is a necessity with this, so it's very cool that they give you them with it. One thing I will talk about, and you will show it on this side of the shoe, these two housings and trigger shoes are 100% machined. So you can see the very nice machine work, the aluminum housing. It's nice, it's thick, very clean lines everywhere, and it's the same with the trigger shoe on both of these. Just very nice pieces of machine work. Now, it's gonna be a little tough to see, but I want you to see right in that area right there. You're gonna see kind of a little circle, and then you're gonna see a line, and this is gonna be even tougher to see going up the back, kind of the spine of that trigger shoe in the rear. Those are indicative of being a cast or metal injection molded part. Not to say it's bad, not to say it's worse, but it is definitely not a fully machined trigger shoe that has a very nice, smooth, perfect kind of feel to it. It's gonna give you a different tactile feel on your finger. It's generally a cheaper way of doing things than machining parts and then coating them and all that good stuff. Not saying it's bad or better, just saying that is what it is. Like I said, 2.5 pound model. We're gonna go ahead and do some trigger pulls after we take a good look at this trigger. So there is, in this lower and most of my others, there's a little bit of wobble in that trigger on safe when you push it back and forth. Okay, you can see it, you can probably hear it. That could be from not having those set screws in the bottom. It could be that maybe I've got a couple lowers that are a little on the looser end of the tolerance. Most likely it's because this trigger shoe this trigger set does not come with set screws like many of the other ones do, like these two. Either way, once that is out of there, you're going to see an immediate wall. There is zero creep and an immediate break. Here's your reset. Very short, very tactile, and it does push your finger out quite nicely. So we'll do that one more time. Immediate break, very crisp and clean, followed by that nice short reset. Let's go ahead and do some trigger pulls. I'm gonna pull very low because the whole reason that hook is there so you can get your fingers low as possible without coming off the bottom of the trigger shoe. Trying to hold this for some odd reason. I hate these grips with this much of an angle. Always messes this up. So I'm gonna get on there and we'll try to get this thing pulled. So we are right there, almost perfectly right at the 2.5 pound mark, which is exactly what they advertised this as. That one was a little higher and I'm pretty sure that was me. So we'll do one more. It's tough to get in here and then get around that, that grip. And there we are, right there, getting at about that 2.5 pound mark as well. So you can see consistently it will come in right there on that trigger gauge at the 2.5 pound mark. So feels good on that break, feels great on the reset. All that stuff is good, but let's talk about how this thing performed out there. Do I like that hooked trigger shoe at all? Because it definitely caused a few issues with me out there on the range. All right, so you saw those pulls, you saw the break, and you kind of saw a couple of those comparisons between the Timney and the Rise Armament. That Timney version being a little bit more expensive, but you kind of saw the differences in how they're designed and how they are actually made. Now, as far as the break goes on this thing, it's outstanding. It's got that nice, crisp, clean glass break that we are all looking for. Very short on that reset. There is a little bit of play back and forth in the housing. That could just be the lower being a little bit in or out of that tolerance with that trigger. But it's the shoe. Overall, that trigger shoe, not so great. It looks like a cast or a MIM part. And to me, it just does not feel good at all. Every time I get my finger on there and go to really start working that trigger, it just gives me nothing but problems because of that hooked design. And to give you an example of that, it just causes me to stutter repeatedly because my finger gets onto that hook and I start short stroking it or just doing weird things, kind of like this. Now, I don't know if that's just me or if you guys have kind of experienced that problem with this trigger as well. And I gave it a chance. I've run it in a couple of different lowers. I've run it out on the range multiple times. And I just can't seem to get used to that after having a completely flat face trigger or even just a good curved trigger like that Rise one or the Hyperfire EDT. You wanna see any of those videos, I will leave those linked down below. But for me, that booger hook bang switch right there just messes with me every single time. Now, talking about the price, I looked this up just prior to filming the video. It comes in right at 150 bucks, which puts it a little bit more expensive than the initial entry Rise triggers, a little bit less than the Timneys, a little bit less than, say, like the Blackout Defense, which is one of my favorites right now. So at that 150 bucks, is that a good, solid price? For me, I'm gonna say no, because I just cannot get over that hook trigger. It just causes more problems for me out there on the range than it's worth trying to get a lighter trigger pull when I have so many other options. Now, I know I probably just made all of my Texas people mad out there, but like I said again, it's just me. It's a me thing. I don't like to shoot. Now, to give you kind of the comparison, you can get the entry-level Rise, the 140, about 120 regularly, and a lot of times 99 bucks on sale. And that Blackout Defense is right at 200, and in between 120 to 200, there are a lot of really good triggers out there to try out. So if it were me, I would probably go a different route, and this trigger is actually gonna come out of here because I've pretty much swapped the Blackouts into all the things I'm running right now, and I'm gonna give this trigger away to one of the Patreons who's probably gonna like it a little bit more than me. But at 150 bucks, you be the judge, and that is what I've got for you today on the CMC 2.5 pound competition trigger. Make sure you guys get subbed up, get belled up. Remember, if you want to help the channel out in any way, you can check any of those affiliate links. And of course, my Patreon is always there for you guys as well. Make sure you guys get subbed up, get belled up, turn those notifications down there to all on, and leave me a comment, kind of, I guess, what's your favorite trigger, or have you tried the CMC stuff right now? You guys get out there and have some fun on the range. And remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you guys on the next one.